Good evening, everyone. Before we begin tonight's meeting, I would like to remind everyone to turn off your cell phones and any electronic devices that you have on you. And please remember to leave your cameras on as we are live streaming. Before I do a land acknowledgement, I want to recognize that today is a day to remember and honor all the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. So I want to acknowledge that and our condolences and our compassion and sympathy to their families. This school board meeting is taking place on Treaty 1 land and the homeland of the Métis Nation. Roll call and call to order. Mr. Cochin, please proceed with roll call.
Roll call for the regular board meeting in the Winnipeg School Division for October 4th, 2021. Trustee Adele.
Here.
Trustee Reed.
Here.
Trustee Murdoch. I see her there, but I don't hear anything. Trustee Dumont.
Here.
Trustee Shitkowski.
Here.
Trustee Chen.
Here.
Trustee Broughton.
Thank you. Approval of agenda moved by Trustee Chen and seconded by Trustee Reed that the agenda be approved. Are there any additions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Moving on to delegations. I would like to call upon Mr. Mickey and Ms. Ho to begin their presentation to the board regarding recognizing Heritage Month. In accordance with Procedural Bylaw 1263, Section 32.8, you shall be granted 10 minutes to make your presentation to the board. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak on your motion recognizing Heritage Month, and I want to indicate that Jennifer Ho and myself are from the Asian Heritage Society of Manitoba. And the Asian Heritage Society of Manitoba has been responsible for promoting Asian Heritage Month, which has been declared by the Government of Canada as well as the province of Manitoba that the month of May be designated Asian Heritage Month. And so as a result, the Asian Heritage Society of Manitoba has been promoting and organizing many activities to not only promote our culture, our history, our music, dance, about the various Asian communities in our province. Anyways, we'd like to speak on your motion because one of the mandates of our organization is really to educate students about Asian heritage and Asian communities in our province. And we've been doing it by holding, for the past 10 years, we've been holding a high school symposium at the University of Winnipeg where we invite students from various school divisions to come and spend a day with us exploring Asian heritage. And so we've had students from Calvin High School, Daniel Mack, and Tech Falk attending some of our sessions, as well as students from other school divisions. One of the emphasis that we wanted to place on students is knowing a bit about the history of Asians, not only in Canada, but in Manitoba. And we find that many of the students that come from those various Asian backgrounds, and I'm not too sure how much of them really know much about the past history. And so that's one of the goals, is to really educate students about that. Not only that, we offer a panel discussions, we bring in role models. There are young professional Asians who have become successful in various fields, whether it be in the arts or government or in the medical field or other professions. And we do that because we want high school students to recognize that Asians are very successful in various aspects of our society. And so hearing young professionals speak about their experiences, and especially when you get professions that are not something that maybe their parents would want them to pursue, such as music or acting or things in the artistic field, these people who come forward talk about their experiences, how they got into it, and we just think that it's so important to let young Asian students know about the various opportunities that people have succeeded in. However, with COVID, it became a real problem because we had to cancel our actual face-to-face symposium. And as a result, we were in the process of developing materials that teachers could use during Asian Heritage Month to promote the month, but also learn about Asians. And so we've developed a short film. It's called Asians in Early Canada, that tells about the early discrimination many of them faced when they came to Canada, and the systemic racism that existed, and how people have overcome it. And as a result, this leads into talking about Asian in Manitoba as well. The numbers, when they came, what our population is, and also recognition that the Asian community through immigration is one of the faster growing communities in our society. So this year we've been in the process of development. The film is now completed. We are looking at doing a number of video presentations of young professionals, and we're in the process of doing that. The other part that we do promote is things that relate to Asian culture. And so we're trying to develop some film, which would be workshop-oriented films where students could watch the film and also make or create some of the various cultural activities that we have. Things like origami, for example, where we can teach students the art of paper folding. We've also done things like learning to dance Filipino dances and that type of thing, or taiko drumming. These are activities that we offered as workshops. Tai Chi is another one. And so, cartooning is another one. Anime is a big thing with young kids these days. And so these are things that we try to promote. And so we're developing a teacher kit. We hope to have it completed by next year for sure, for next May. However, the film is already ready. It's on our website, asianheritagemanitoba.ca. You can look at the film there if you wanted to see it. So that's essentially what we're doing. And so we do support the importance of recognizing Heritage Month, whether it be Black History Month or Asian Heritage, Indigenous as well. I think these are all important things that students need to be exposed to. So I want to thank the Winnipeg School Division Board Trustees for listening to my presentation. And if there are any questions, I'd be certainly free to answer it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Ho, did you want to add anything?
No, it was well presented. Thank you, Dr. Mickey, and thanks for having me join as an observer this evening. Hello, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. So thank you, Mr. Mickey, for presenting information to the Board of Trustees. A motion is not required to receive presentations, but I'd like to know if trustees have any questions. Any questions?
Yes.
Trustee Chen?
Thank you, Mr. Mickey, and Ms. Ho for taking your time to attend our board meeting and presenting. I just have a couple of questions. First one, you mentioned the Asian Heritage Society has been organizing high school symposium. Just wondering any kind of feedback from high school students who participated in your symposium. And secondly, you mentioned that Asian Heritage Society is developing educational materials. What's the importance of developing educational materials by community organizations?
Well, first question, well, I'll answer the second question first. I think it's important to have community involvement. All of these things that we're developing are done by community members. So really, we're talking about their experiences. That goes into the development of these videos that we're hoping for workshops. And so I think it's important that organizations such as ours be in the forefront of developing information. I mean, I think the first-hand experience is always the most important part, and also the relationship of the activity to a particular group is important as well. I'm sorry, Jennifer, the first question you asked was related to
feedback from high school students who participated.
Right, yeah, from the students. At the end of every session, we have students give feedback in terms of their attendance. The feedback has been extremely positive. I know the students indicate that they really enjoyed learning about the history because many of them didn't know anything about it. And secondly, the professional presentations, they're really quite taken by it because I think with a lot of the Asian students, their parents have certain visions of what they should do in terms of education, be a doctor or a dentist or whatever. And yet many of them feel that they have other interests. And to hear successful professionals talk about how they overcame some of these issues, even with their parents, is really enlightening. And I think it's been very good for them to hear that aspect of it. The feedback has been good because right now it seems that certain schools send their students every year, like for instance, Calvin does, and then Daniel Mack does. But we want to broaden it to other schools as well. And so having the kit available, and it would be great if there's an opportunity to get teachers together and we could present a workshop on what materials we have and how they can be used. And that would help the teacher who's ever interested to be able to use these materials more efficiently.
Thank you.
Trustee Dumont?
Thank you, and thank you, Art and Jennifer, for coming and for your presentation. You answered actually some of my questions, Art, just in your last.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you were able to predict what I was going to ask. I was just really curious about the teacher kits because you talked about having some workshops. Are the teacher kits and you mentioned videos, is there also like written materials? Just a little bit more curious about those and where they're going to be available.
Well, since we just started working on this year, it won't be available till next year. Okay. I think the workshop videos, some of it will be ready, and also some of the professional presentations of young Asians should be done. We'll likely do it on Zoom, and then it could be shown any time that the teacher wants to use it. It'll be like a film. So, but if the pandemic, once we get over all of this, we want to still continue with the in-person symposiums because those are more powerful when you get people together. And it gives them a good opportunity to meet kids from other schools as well. So that hopefully we will be able to begin that again. But in the meantime, this has become sort of the way of ensuring that we can continue with the activities and the promotion.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Trustee Shinkowski, you had your hand up was your question answered?
Yes, it was. But I do have one more question I just thought of. So this program, thank you for presenting first.
No, you're welcome.
This is more geared to the high school students, correct?
Right. Well, yeah, that program is geared towards high school students. What we've also done, and I should have mentioned it earlier, is one of the things we do is try to promote young or Asian writers who do children's books. And every year I bring in one or two people who go to classrooms. We do it through the public library, and students come there. But this year we put it on video, and we have presentations shown at different schools. We set certain dates, and the presentations were actually on YouTube that could be conveyed into the classroom. And that was quite successful. There were about 10 or 12 Winnipeg School Division classes that observed that, and the feedback was good on that. So we might continue that aspect of it too in the future, of rather than bringing in the writer, we could do some type of presentation online or through film that could be shown into the classroom. So that's what we've been doing with the elementary students, actually, is using books to promote the writers as well as learn about Asian culture.
Thank you.
I have one question left. You answered most of my questions already with the other questions people had. I was just wondering how you thought we could really work with you to encourage more schools to get involved and more schools to attend. Like, do you have any ideas of how we could work together to make sure that we're spreading the news broadly and people have an opportunity to come together and learn?
Well, I know I used to be a school teacher and principal, by the way, so I sort of know the ins and outs of it. When we first started, I contacted the high school, or I contacted the principals. Well, that didn't work out very well because I found out that many principals didn't send the information down to the teachers. So as a result, we got very poor response. And so I approached the school, and they undertook to do it themselves for the first year. And then from then we expanded to other schools. Up to this point, we've been doing through word of mouth of teachers to promote, because you know, they're the ones who are interested, so they were able to. But I think that you know, through the school division, if you're willing to promote it by once we make the announcements, that you would be willing to share it with some of the teachers, that would be great. Targeted teachers, I find that targeting teachers are better because they have some interest in a particular subject. So, but certainly we'd like to get the support of the school division to be able to promote it. And so if it's okay, we can do that. In fact, we'd be really willing and happy to do it.
Wonderful, thank you. Because it's good if we work together. It's good if all our students know what a beautiful, diverse city we live in with all the history of everyone. So we're so grateful for that. So if there are no further questions, and I don't see any, I want to thank you, Mr. Mickey and Ms. Ho, for coming to present to us. We greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I would like to call upon Ms. Massanew to begin her presentation to the board regarding the importance of recognizing and celebrating cultural heritages in Winnipeg in accordance with Procedural Bylaw 1263, Section 32.8. You shall be granted 10 minutes to make your presentation to the board. Go ahead, Ms. Mickey.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. So my name is Felicia Masenu. And first of all, I'd like to thank the board for the board and Jennifer Chen for inviting us to talk about the importance of recognizing and celebrating cultural heritages in Winnipeg. I am the programs director of Bilal Community and Family Center, and I'm here on behalf of our executive director, Muhaydin Omar, who is very passionate about the issues that are being talked about today here, but is not able to make it today, unfortunately, because he's tied up with other commitments and sends his regards. First of all, well, like I mentioned, I'll be talking very briefly about the importance of recognizing and celebrating cultural heritages in Winnipeg. And I'll start off by saying that you come to Winnipeg and you realize the diversity, the different cultures that make up the population of the city and in Manitoba in general, and to a larger extent Canada as well. People from Asia, Indigenous people, Africans, people from the Caribbean, all with diverse cultures. Cultural heritage plays a crucial role in people's lives as it forms a big part of the identity, whether as individuals or as a collective. In every community, there are people who possess a high degree of knowledge, skills, and history pertaining to different aspects of their cultures. And it is therefore important to people from different countries and cultures to reclaim, restore, and preserve the various aspects of their heritage. Also, it is important to note that children and youth from minority groups tend to feel different, isolated, and alone, especially when they are underrepresented in their classrooms or schools. They tend to be bullied or made fun of by their classmates who see them as different, and on some occasions pass xenophobic comments or even be hostile towards them. We have similar situations even in our neighborhoods where it might be deemed uncool or unsafe for certain kids to hang out with other kids, for instance. These issues stem from a lack of understanding, recognition, and appreciation of difference. On a small scale, they may seem insignificant, but they go a long way to creating other issues such as affecting young children and youth's mental health and crime that create problems for the entire Canadian society. Cultural heritages can be used to address some challenges that different communities are facing today. And so celebrating cultural heritage in Winnipeg and in schools will provide a sense of community and belonging for the youth. Celebrating different cultural heritages will contribute to the initiatives of eradicating racism in the Canadian society, as it will provide a platform for productive discussions which will raise awareness. This will build bridges of understanding, empathy, appreciation, and cooperation of our Manitoban community. Ultimately, celebrating cultural heritages in Winnipeg will promote respect and appreciation for cultural diversity, social cohesion, and reconciliation among our diverse communities. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to bring these issues to the board, and we look forward to celebrating different cultural heritages that would bring us all together as a community. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. I want to make sure I'm saying your last name properly. What I heard was Mesenu?
Yes, it's Masenu.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Sorry about not saying it correct properly.
Oh, that's okay.
Thank you, for, Ms. Mesenu, for presenting information to the Board of Trustees. A motion isn't required to receive your presentation. I just want to ask trustees if they have any questions, and I'll make a list. Trustee Chen, please.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Ms. Sindhu, for taking your time to present and talking to the board about the importance of recognizing Heritage Month. And I know Belong Community and Family Center, one of the key areas that the center works on is to work with youth on a variety of youth programs. So maybe can you let us know, based on your experience working with youth, how to make it successful and how in terms of educational programs?
I think that, thank you for that question. I think that one of the ways to make it successful is collaboration, especially between the communities and the families of the youth. You come to find out that in cases where there's lack of parental or family support, it becomes increasingly difficult to reach out to these youth. And also, educating, we focus a lot on Black youth, and so I'll be speaking, although we have different people who also come to the center to attend our workshops and things like that. We focus heavily on Black youth, immigrant, and refugees. And it's very difficult to sometimes reach out to the family because there are a lot of barriers with regard to that. Language barrier, for instance. Other cases are lack of knowledge about the resources that are available to help or support the people or the Black communities. So I think that more work will be needed to promote the programs that are available, not just at Bilal Center, but also other organizations that are working on improving youths or Black youth's lives or other youth's life. We need to put out more information out there, more social media. We are working on it, but I think that collaborative efforts are needed to be able to do this. And also, if the school division would give us referrals, that would be great. So we have programs like the tutoring component programs that the center used to run even before I joined them, that helps Black youth who are struggling academically in schools, for instance. So I strongly believe that if teachers and heads of schools knew about some of these programs, they could refer parents and Black students who are struggling academically to us to be able to work with them, for instance. And of course, funding is also another issue that every organization faces, and we are no different. So sorry for going on and on about that, but.
No, thank you so much. And in terms of the referral, I'm talking to Mr. Omar on that, and look forward to meeting with him further.
That would be great. Thank you.
Trustee Dumont, you have your hand up for a question?
Yes, thanks so much, Felicia, for your presentation today. I guess my question, and forgive me if I missed it in the presentation, does the Bilal Center currently work directly with any of the schools?
Directly with, I'm not sure about this. This would be a question that Muhaydin might be well vexed to answer. But as far as I know that Bilal is working closely with the families and not the schools at the moment. And I was recommending, I joined them quite recently, and it was one thing that I was recommending, that we try to work very closely with the schools and organize outreach programs to the schools as well. So hopefully we'll be doing a lot of work in that aspect in the very near future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any more hands up for questions. So if there's no further questions, I want to thank you, Ms. Mesenu, for coming to present to us. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So moving on to reading and confirming of minutes. Moved by Trustee Reed, seconded by Trustee Shinkowski, that the minutes dated September 13th, 2021 be approved as distributed. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Reading of communications and petitions. Moved by Trustee Reed, seconded by Trustee Chen, that OC 17-21 from Rick Peschel, QP Local 110 President, expressing disappointment on the conduct of Trustee Broughton at the September 13th regular board meeting, be received as information. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Moved by Trustee Dumont, seconded by Trustee Shinkowski, that OC 18-21 from Wab Canoe, Leader of the Official Opposition, Province of Manitoba, thanking the board for the invitation to discuss Bill 64 and looking forward to discuss ways to strengthen public education in the future with the board, be received as information. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Presentation and consideration of reports. So Superintendent's report number 8-2120 dated October 4th, 2021. Moved by Trustee Dumont, seconded by Trustee Reed, that the tender of U-Build Inc. to supply all material and perform all work in connection with the window replacement 2021 project at Daniel McIntyre Collegiate Institute be accepted, in accordance with the plans and specifications therefore, for the total amount of $176,253, being the tender price, including provincial sales tax, excluding goods and services tax, and that the proper officers of the division be authorized to enter into a contract with U-Build Inc. for the carrying out of the work. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Moved by Trustee Dumont, seconded by Trustee Reed, that the proper officers of the division be authorized to enter into a program funding agreement with Manitoba Education and Training for the delivery of the interdivisional program for students with autism in the amount of $158,609 for the 2021-2022 school year. All those in favor?
I have a question. Sorry.
Okay.
Just wondering about the funding decrease this year compared to the previous years. Is there any reason from the province?
So I can, through the chair, I can answer that. So towards the bottom of the write-up there, you'll notice that last year's amount supported 4 students, and this year's amount supports only 2, and that's the reason for the decrease.
So the decrease of the number of students is decided by the province.
Yes, that's correct.
And do we know what evidence they based on?
Sorry.
Do we know why they reduced the number of students this year?
I think it's just because those are the students that have been presented to us for support. I don't have any more information than that.
Thank you.
Sorry, we're getting a bit of, sorry, Trustee Reed.
If I remember from previous years, the reason for the decrease is usually because the student has graduated or is no longer in the division. That was what I remember from a couple of years ago when I asked the same question.
Okay, Celia?
Thank you, Trustee Adele. In response to Trustee Chen, the other reason is that the province is referring fewer students to this provincial program, and that divisions will be meeting the needs of these students through their own division. And so as the program is moving in a different direction from the province, there are only 2 students remaining in this level of supported program.
Is there any further questions about this? No? Okay, can I get all those in favor, please? Any opposed? Carried. Indigenous Education Ad Hoc Committee Report number 3-2021 dated September 15th, 2021. Moved by Trustee moved by Trustee Dumont, seconded by Trustee Dell, that the Indigenous Education Ad Hoc Committee Report number 3-2021 dated June 21st, 2021 be received as information. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Trustee Dumont, do you have a recommendation?
I do, thank you. I move that the revised terms of reference for the Indigenous Education Ad Hoc Committee be approved.
Can I get a seconder, please? Trustee Reed. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. So moving on to new business, bylaw 1295-second and final reading, borrowing bylaw. Moved by Trustee Chen, seconded by Trustee Reed, that bylaw 1295, a bylaw of the Winnipeg School Division, to authorize the borrowing of monies from any bank or credit union upon credit of the Winnipeg School Division for the period of November 1st, 2021 through October 31st, 2022, be now a second time in short. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Mr. Cochin?
A bylaw of the Winnipeg School Division to authorize the borrowing of monies from any bank or credit union upon credit of the Winnipeg School Division for the period November 1, 2021 through October 31st, 2022.
Moved by Trustee Chen, seconded by Trustee Reed, that the rules be suspended in order for bylaw 1295 to be read a third time. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Seconded by Trustee Dumont. Moved by Trustee Dumont, seconded by Trustee Reed, that bylaw 1295, a bylaw of the Winnipeg School Division, be read a third time in short and passed. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Mr. Cochin?
A bylaw of the Winnipeg School Division to authorize the borrowing of monies from any bank or credit union upon credit of the Winnipeg School Division for the period November 1, 2021 through October 31st, 2022.
Thank you. Moving on to 7.2, Winnipeg School Division recognizing Heritage and History Months weeks. Motion, notice of which was given by Trustee Chen on September 13th, 2021. Moved by Trustee Chen. Do we have a seconder, please? Can I, Trustee Dumont? That all Winnipeg schools recognize all Heritage and History Months weeks, which are proclaimed by the Government of Manitoba, including but not limited to Islamic History Month, Black History Month, Sikh Heritage Month, Asian Heritage Month, Filipino Heritage Month, and Somali Heritage Week. That all Winnipeg schools encourage interested students, staff, schools, community members, and trustees to plan and participate in activities that celebrate the months and weeks in honor of our diverse Winnipeg School Division students and school communities. Trustee Chen, would you like to speak on this?
Yes, I would like to. Thank you, Chair. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the public who are watching our board meeting right now, including people from different organizations and our youth who are looking forward to the discussion on this motion. For many of them, this may be their first time engaging the WSD board meeting, but it is an issue they care deeply. I would also like to acknowledge the organizers from the Black History Month who are watching the meeting but cannot attend as delegation due to procedural issues. These youth take leadership every year to organize Black History Month activities at schools. As a school trustee, I attended their panel discussion in February this year. I want to applaud their commitment and leadership in celebrating our diversity and putting their commitment into action. The action we observed on September 30th is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. We honor the survivors of the residential school system, their families, and communities. It is a vital part of the reconciliation process because it deepens our awareness of this history and ensures ongoing reflection. As all of you have heard from the delegations tonight, Heritage Month celebrations are important in providing the space to teach and learn about cultural history, achievements, and contributions these groups have made to the Canadian society, and to examine how these groups are continually oppressed and marginalized in society. Here in Manitoba, we have a number of heritage months and weeks that are proclaimed by the province. To name a few, Islamic History Month, Black History Month, Sikh Heritage Month, Asian Heritage Month, Filipino Heritage Month, and Somali Heritage Week. My motion encourages interested students, staff, school, community members, and trustees to plan and participate in activities that celebrate the months and weeks in honor of our diverse WSD students and school communities. A lot of Winnipeg School Division educators and students have already been involved in planning and organizing Heritage Month in the community as a volunteer for many years. I have had the greatest pleasure to work with a lot of them in the community and witness the positive impact their amazing work on our young people as well as the broader community. Our young people who come from diverse backgrounds should feel safe, included, and welcomed when they celebrate their culture at schools. The purpose of my motion is not only to embrace the heritage and culture of our students, but also create a space for our students, recognize their leadership, and arouse more inclusion, representation, and diversity. It is not uncommon for a school board to recognize Heritage Month and History Month. The Toronto District School Board recognizes a number of Heritage and History Months throughout the school year, many of which are organized by a number of interested individuals, including trustees, staff, and community members. The board recognizes these dedicated individuals offer their time and energy to plan activities that celebrate the month and the diverse TDSB community. My motion will put the Winnipeg School Division as the first board to recognize Heritage Months and Weeks in Winnipeg. Recognition could include a recognition on the Winnipeg School Division website and social media, emails sent through Winnipeg School Division Bulletin, for example. And I thank my colleagues on the board and look forward to all community and school celebrations should this motion be adopted. Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Trustee Chen. So is there any discussion on this? Anyone have any questions, discussion on the motion? I'm not seeing any. Oh, Trustee Reed? I would just like to say before we open the floor for discussion, I would like to remind trustees that section 23.1 of procedural bylaw 1263 also states that a member shall not speak longer than 10 minutes nor twice on the same motion unless in explanation of something which may have been misunderstood or in reply to questions not to exceed 2 minutes. Go ahead.
I would just like to ask that this motion be referred to the Policy Program Committee for further discussion, as I have already seen plenty of schools do activities, and it is part of the education curriculum. And I would like to just have it referred to Policy Program. So I'm asking for a friendly amendment to the motion.
Trustee Chen?
I don't think this will be a friendly amendment, as this will change the intention of the motion. And I would like to keep the original motion, as I think it's important as our board to encourage students, staff, schools, committee members to recognize Heritage Months and Weeks publicly.
Okay, I have one further amendment I would like to ask. The Winnipeg School Division takes pride in being a leader in inclusivity. Therefore, I also ask that this motion include special recognition weeks, months, proclaimed for all of them that are proclaimed by the government, including those for students with diverse learning needs.
Trustee Chen,
So
are you okay with that?
I missed the second part.
I would like it to also not just include Heritage History Weeks, but all proclamations from the government, including those with students with diverse learning needs.
So such as, could you
such as Autism Awareness Month, or Cerebral Palsy Month, or Down Syndrome Month. Any special recognition that is proclaimed by the government.
Again, I think it changes the intention of the motion. It's not a friendly amendment. And
okay.
If we want to recognize other diversity, we can put forward another motion. This motion is recognizing Heritage and History Month.
Trustee Dumont?
Yes, thank you. I think for reasons that we've just heard here as a board, because I think we are a leader in inclusivity and promoting diversity. I think as a board can all agree and recognize how important representation is, and that recognition and the part that it plays in the lives of our students and our staff and our communities. I would also propose that we could send this to the Policy and Program Committee. I do see it as a friendly amendment because I think we want to make sure we do this right. We certainly do have a lot of our schools that are already, participating, as we've just heard from our presenters. And I think that there's a real opportunity here for us as a board to be able to provide good, clear direction to the division on how to proceed, and making sure that we are, promoting a recognition of all areas of diversity, whether it's different heritages or different abilities.
So I'm just going to back us up a bit. A motion has been put on the table by Trustee Reed. Is there a seconder for Trustee Reed's motion? Trustee Dumont. All those in favor?
I'll second.
Any opposed? Motion's carried to refer to the Policy Committee. Thank you. Number 8, agenda information, moved by Trustee Shinkowski, seconded by Trustee Murdoch, that information correspondence IC 44-21 to IC 46-21 be received as information. Is there any discussion on that? All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Business matters as defined in Rule 44.7. Moved by Trustee Reed, seconded by Trustee Dumont, that the board move into business matters as defined in Rule 44.7. Carried. Trustee Dumont?
Madam Chair, I would like to report on the following. I move that Section 36.0 Code of Conduct Procedural Bylaw 1263 be referred to the Governments Committee for review.
Can I have a seconder, please? Trustee Reed? All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
I move that Trustee Shikowski be appointed as a member of the Newcomer Education Ad Hoc Committee.
Can I have a seconder, please? Trustee Reed? All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
I move that Trustee Dumont be appointed as Chair of the Indigenous Education Ad Hoc Committee and that Trustee Adele and Trustee Broughton be appointed as members of the Indigenous Ad Hoc Committee.
Can I get a seconder? Trustee Shinkowski, all those in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
The members of the board discussed lead testing and leaves of absence reports. And at 8:15 p.m., the board moved into closed camera with Chief Superintendent, Secretary Treasurer, Director, Human Resources, and Board and Community Liaison Officer to discuss QP negotiations. And direction was provided.
Thank you. Trustee Reed has moved that the meeting be adjourned. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.